Ayo, what is up, everybody? Chandler Molyneux here. Welcome into the Act First show, where we help coaches get better at sales and personal development. We got a fun one for you guys today. So I've officially been an entrepreneur for 10 years. I started in 2015. It's 2025. I started when I was 19. I'm 29. I'll be 30 in July, which is crazy to freaking say. And I've had a lot of successes. I've also had a shit ton of failures. And what comes from those successes and also from those failures, probably more so from those failures, is a lot of learning lessons, a lot of takeaways, a lot of principles. And that's exactly what I want to share with you guys in today's YouTube/podcast is what are my top 5 biggest takeaways from 10 years, a full decade of entrepreneurship. I've been very lucky and blessed. When I graduated college, my business was full-time. I started my business at 19. I believe I was going sophomore into junior year of college, and I worked on my business in college. And when I graduated, that was the first thing I did. And I've been an entrepreneur since. I've never had a job, and I've had a lot of successes. I've done over 8 figures in sales. I've helped over 4,000 people in my 2 businesses. And I've also had a shit ton of failures. I've lost, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've had money stolen from me. I've had to lay off people. I've had to fire people. I've had businesses fail. I've had business ideas fail. I've had a lot of success and I've had a lot of failure. So what we're going to do, we're going to break down my top 5 biggest lessons from 10 years of entrepreneurship. So let's waste no time. Let's get into it. The very first one here is you have to act first. And I'm building my 3rd business around this whole entire premise. This is literally the brand of the 3rd business that I'm building here. Here's what act first means. I know I've defined it, but I want to redefine it here, okay? It means that you're taking initiative. You're continuing to take steps forward even when the path isn't clear. Here's the best analogy I can give. Imagine you're walking in the woods. There's no path at all. There's a destination somewhere in the woods that you have to get to, but you have no idea how to get there. The only thing that you can do is continue to put one foot in front of the other. Learn from your failures and continue to double down on your successes. That's exactly what Act First is, and that's exactly what entrepreneurship is. You're walking in the woods with no clear direction and path. You kind of have a guess. We'll see if it works. We'll see if it doesn't work. Another way that I've heard it is you jump out of the plane and you build the parachute on the way down. That's exactly what entrepreneurship is, but that's also what Act First stands for. And I've had to do this many, many times. I did this when I started my first business. When I started my first business, I was not supposed to be someone who was quote unquote successful. In kindergarten, very young, my principal told my parents that I'd be better in a different school district, an easier school district. In 8th grade, in front of the whole entire class, my math teacher, Mrs. Yoles, told me I wouldn't even graduate high school. I was asked to repeat the 8th grade. I really kind of got my act together in school and in high school, and I finished with like a 3.2 GPA. But really, I wasn't like a great student. In college, I went to 4 colleges in 5 years. I failed out of one of those colleges. And like, if that was success, which it's not, but it's like the traditional way that is defined as success, I was not supposed to be successful. But one night, I was hanging out with my girlfriend at the time, who is now actually my wife, Caitlin, and we were watching YouTube, and she introduced me to a man named Christian Guzman on YouTube. And I was very into fitness. This is why she showed it to me. And at first, I basically was like, I don't know about this online coaching. Next thing I know, it's 2:00 in the morning. I'm binge watching Christian Guzman. I'm like, this is what I want. This is going to be my life. And I, very naive, I was like, in 3 months, I'll be full time. It really took me 3 years, but I had to act first. I had many doors that I could have opened with my career, but I just said, you know what? This is the lifestyle I want. I'm committing to this. And I acted first. I didn't know the plan. I didn't know the path. I didn't know how I was going to build this business. I just committed to building the business. And 3 years later, walking through the woods, the quote unquote woods for 3 years, I then went full time. 3 years later. All right, same thing with my second business. I acted first. I moved down to Austin, Texas, a city that I've never, at this point, I've only lived with my parents. I moved down to Austin, Texas. I met a group of friends. There was one friend I hit it off with, and we just built a business together. We didn't really think about it. We didn't second guess. We just said, we'll figure it out. And we created the Next Level Coaching Academy. And I'm doing the same thing with this business. I said, I want to create a sales coaching company. And boom, now I'm doing it, right? You know, I don't have a clear plan. kind of have a resemblance of a plan, but we're just figuring it out. And what I've learned with entrepreneurship is speed and intensity matter. There are no half measures, right? You have to go all in. It will both with your speed and also with your intensity, right? You can't be like, oh, I'll kind of dip my toe in the water. I'll see if it works out. I'll see if it not works out. If you do that, you're going to get smoked. You're going to get absolutely smoked. Now, to counteract that point, it's always going to take longer and be way harder than you think. It's going to be longer. For example, I thought I was going to go full-time in 3 months. It took me 3 years, and it's going to be way harder. If you told me that I would have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, had, $70,000 stolen from me, would have to fire people, lay people off, have businesses fail, I would have, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't have even done it because it's a lot of emotional stress, a lot of physical stress on the body as well. But speed and intensity matter, and it's always going to be longer and harder than you think. But if you continue to act first, you're going to achieve your goals. That's point number one. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. I'm enjoying talking about this. Now, number two, personal development is the foundation of your success. When I look back on hindsight of 10 years of entrepreneurship, the seasons that I was the most successful is the seasons that I was dialed in on my personal development. And I would say from 2015 to 2023, I was dialed on my personal development, and I was having a crap ton of success. I was, doing hundreds of thousands a month, millions in years. And in 2023 and 2024, those were the two hardest years for business for me. And I think in 2023, I started to get the little bit of a Midas touch syndrome. And I started to let off the gas a little. I wasn't doing as much personal development. I wasn't doing as much growing and expanding of my being. And I, was drinking a little bit more and, dabbling a little bit more and that kind of stuff. And I had a massive decline. A lot of negative things happened to me. And it's because I fell off the personal development. So like I said, when I reflect back on 10 years of entrepreneurship, the seasons that I dominated were the seasons that I focused on personal development. And to be more specific and define personal development, health and fitness, so nutrition, physical body, doing some sort of workout, spiritual, being connected to God, relational, pouring into your family and your relationships, and then mindset. Reading books, attending conferences, listening to podcasts, listening to videos like this. I have a specific routine that I follow now because I believe in this principle so much. I have a specific routine that I follow now that I do 5 out of 7 days a week in order to stay on top of my personal development, which once again leads to success. So that's point number 2. Point number 3 is get good at sales and marketing. All right, here's my story. I very early on said, you know what, I'm not going to try to grow a big following. I'm just going to get really good at sales, and that will be my way out. And it was. Like I said, I did over 8 figures in sales. But in hindsight, I actually think this is probably my biggest failure, my biggest mistake. I didn't treat marketing, I didn't treat creating a brand with any importance at all. I really didn't. I just would throw a post out there and say, yeah, whatever. I'm just posting the post. I don't care about getting a following. I don't care about that. Big mistake. It makes it harder. You're climbing an uphill battle, and it makes it a lot more expensive because the way that we got leads, because I didn't have a big brand, was ads. And we would have to spend anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 to acquire a singular client on ads, and that's very, very expensive, especially when your program is $6,000 to $10,000. Right? That's a huge cut into your profit. Right? So if you can dedicate and learn the skill of sales, but also learn the skill of marketing, you're going to have a lot more leads, and your leads are going to be cheaper, right? If you get a lead through social media, it's $0. You're going to have a lot more profitable business if you do build that brand. So highly recommend you do not just leverage and grow one skill, sales or marketing. If you want to be successful and maximize your success, it's sales and marketing. All right, number 4. Get around a community that challenges you. All right. Once again, this is very similar to personal development, but when I reflect back on my 10 years, the times that I was most successful, I was attached to a specific community. So in order for me to go full-time as an online fitness coach, I hired one mentor. It was an absolute failure. And that's my fault, but truthfully, it's also his fault as well. I left the program in more debt than I started. And then I hired my second mentor, and that's when I was able to go full time. That mentor helped me have my first 10K month, and my first $50,000 month was with that mentor as well. But there was a great community attached to that. And that community was all pretty much in the same spot. And there was a healthy competition there. We were sharing ideas. We also met each other in person a lot. And it was awesome. And then the other time is when I moved down to Austin, Texas. All of my friends were growing online fitness coaching businesses, and we grew exponentially during that time. Like, that's when I became a six-figure earner to a seven-figure earner and made that transition, was when I met that friend group. And then there's times where I didn't have friend groups. The 3 years prior to going full-time, I was a lone wolf. I'll figure this out on my own. I don't need anybody. And I'm kind of going through that season right now, right? I'm building a new business, but I would say our friend group is kind of dissipated. I'm looking for that next community that can really challenge me and push me to grow. And more specifically, it doesn't have to be a friend group that like you're all doing the same thing, right? It just has to be a friend group where like the vision is aligned, meaning people want the same kind of life and lifestyle, similar values, similar work ethic, right? And what you get from that is a healthy level of competition, which is great. You need that. You shouldn't shy away from that. You get a lot of knowledge. So you learn a lot of things. You learn from other people's mistakes, which expedites your success as well. And you just get fun. It's just fun. It just makes it a hell of a lot more fun. So that's my fourth one there. Now, my fifth and final one is all in versus all consumed. Okay. For the better part of the 10 years of my entrepreneurship journey, I was all consumed. And this is actually a negative thing. Here's why. When you're all consumed, you don't care about anything else. You don't care about anyone else. You're extremely selfish. There's a lot of collateral damage. You hurt people. You don't spend time with people. Your relationships suffer. For me, my health really suffered. I became pre-diabetic. I got fat. I got addicted to Adderall, all sorts of bullshit. I was all consumed. Now, don't get me wrong. That mindset made me very successful. But the question here, because all in versus all consumed, they both get you to the same point. They both get you successful. But really, it's which one leaves you feeling fulfilled. And that's the big question. Like, why are we doing this? Are we doing this just for money? Then great, be all consumed. But it's probably not why you're doing this. You're probably doing this because you want the fulfillment. You want to leave an impact. You want to leave a legacy. Sure, you want to make money, but you want to do those other things. And over the past 6 months, I've really had, I don't want to say awakening. I don't know, it sounds so woo-woo, but I just kind of changed my viewpoint on success. Success to me now isn't just measured by money. It's measured by, how strong are my relationships? How good is my health and fitness? Yes, how much money I'm making and am I growing my wealth, and how are my businesses doing? The impact that I'm leaving, the mindset that I have. And really the best way to define it is the example that I'm making, the example that I'm leaving, the legacy that I'm leaving, both for my future kids and for individuals that watch me online, right? That's important to me. And that's what all in is versus all consumed. All consumed means you only care about one thing and there's collateral damage. All in means that you care about all aspects of your life and there's no collateral damage. You're all in on business. You're all in on your health. You're all in on your marriage and your family. You're all in on your spiritual life. You're all in on all the aspects of life that matter to you. And that's the new way that I'm going about this. And in hindsight, I do wish that I was a little bit more all in versus all consumed. I wish I didn't have the collateral damage, but I can't regret it. It got me to that point, and it also has taught me this lesson that I now get to share with you. So those are my 5 points, y'all. It was very hard to come up with this list. I could have hundreds and hundreds of points, but these are the 5 that I think are the most important. So you have to act first. Personal development is always the foundation. Get good at sales and marketing. Get around people that push you. They don't have to all be doing the same thing, but share ideas, push you, and you can have fun with. And lastly, be all in, not all consumed. If you guys enjoyed this content, you want more content, y'all know what to do. Hit that freaking subscribe button, leave a little thumbs up and a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.